Hi. Hello. It is Wednesday. It is the day before I leave on retreat. I am so excited. I am so excited that I get to host a retreat for several women this weekend. Some of them know each other, some of them don't. I know them all really well, and I get to spend a few days hosting them at this beautiful home in the middle of Hocking Hills. And we get to rest, and we get to laugh, and we get to work, and we get to connect, and all of those things. Um, and everybody put their lipstick on. Uh, and yeah, so I'm like heavy like into preparing and getting things all ready, and I just feel like it's Christmas. So, good morning. If you're coming in on this happy Wednesday morning, I didn't read my meditation, so I'm going to read it to you guys. And here's what it says. Good morning, Trisha. Today's October 20th, and it goes, oh, no, it's not. It's 19th. Oh, okay. I was one day ahead. See, I really want to go on this retreat. This is what it says today. Actually, I'm not going to read it. It's really, really long, so I'll read it later without you guys. Oh boy, oh boy. All right, so we're going to talk about something that's been coming up lately in my conversations and in my stuff, and it is inconsistent identity. Um, Inconsistent identity and consistent action. And I just literally read a post from one of my friends in a group, and she was talking about inconsistent action with inconsistent identity and how difficult it is to stay consistent in action when you are doing something that you really don't want to do. And that's been like coming up a lot in conversations lately. So um my my soapbox is two things, right? To empower you to live your purpose and to create your highest earnings potential. So I get that we don't walk into our days or walk into life or walk into a chapter of our life knowing our purpose, but we can figure it out. We can figure it out. And if you're in a place where you're trying to figure it out and you haven't figured it out yet, I want to give you a little exercise to do to help you figure that out. Um, and what that exercise is, so currently, if you look at your identity for what it is, you can make a list of all the things that you are, right? So you're a mom, and you're a daughter, and a sister, and a mother, and a dog owner, and a friend, and your work identity, whatever your professional capacity is, and you're those things. That's your identity. Um, but your purpose is not your identity. So your purpose is taking all of those things that make up who you are and living those things that make up who you are out loud and delivering that talent to the people around you. That is what your purpose is. And some people think, well, how the heck do you monetize that? Well, you do. But let's first work on what that purpose is and how to figure it out. Hey Marnie, good morning. So let's do a little exercise. Some of you have probably done this, but let's do it again. And the exercise goes a little bit like this. You're going to write down your identity, right? So write down all of those things that you already are. Um, And then right next to it, I'd like you to write down how, like, the how long have you been that? So, like, how long have you been a mom? How long have you been a sister? How long have you been a daughter? Um, put like the number of years next to how long you've been whatever you've been. So, if you've it's in your professional life too. So whatever you're doing professionally now and in the past. So I'd like you to do that. To look at, like, here's my identity, here's all of the things that I am, and then this is all the thing, how long I've been doing them. Um, and like everything. So I just like I should also say, like, it's not just mom, sister, daughter. It's also um, things that you have always done. So um, what's been constant in your life, what's been really constant in your life, and that could be, like, for me it's 12-step recovery, right? So for me, I've been in recovery for all my life. It's my identity. um and I write down, like, how many years next to it. So I want you to, like, write down your identity and then write down how long next to it, and take a look at your skill set. Because that's how long you have experience doing and being in that identity. And then also look at that identity and look at those things that you want to change. So if there's an area in your identity that doesn't fill you up and doesn't feel good, so if I'm a mom, but I'm looking at that identity as a mom and it doesn't make me feel good, I'm feeling pressure and I'm feeling overwhelmed and I'm just like that, my gut hurts when I look at that, then that's an area of my identity that I want to change. Okay. Um, and so once you make that list of identity and how many years, you can see, like, oh my gosh, this is how long I have this skill set. And these are the areas of my identity that I feel really good about, and the areas of my identity that I don't feel really good about and that I would want to change. And then to further the exercise to help you start identifying where your purpose is and what you really want to be doing for yourself and for others and for the world, you take it very macro and micro at the same time. So what I mean by macro and micro at the same time is you make a list, and you make a big list. I usually say at least 15 ways, and you describe. Describe means that you are going to journal more than one word. You're going to, like, share stories and examples and specifics, and describe at least 15 ways that you have brought value to the world based off of the constants, constants, constants in your life. So, where have I really brought value to the world? Um, and that's where a coach comes into play and is really helpful, because when you write those things down, then you can share it with your coach and really pull out those areas. So, when I first did an exercise like this, um, it was, my sister said to me, why don't you take everything that you have learned as your identity through the years and go help women with that? And my response was, well, are they really going to need that? Right. So that's where the coach comes into play, because we have all these blind spots and we have all these, like, things in our head telling us that people really aren't going to need whatever it is that we find out that is actually our purpose. So then once you write down those 15 ways that you bring value to the world, then you start to shout that from the rooftops. Shout it out. And what I mean by shouting that out to the rooftops is by having conversations. with people that are openly objective, that are objective and not judgmental. So, if your best friend is wonderful but not um, really the best person to give you um, a, an openly objective feedback, and if there's lots of judgment and criticism around it, then you want to avoid that person talking to. So what that does is it brings like some things together. What it brings together is that you're physically and mentally and spiritually working on something to identify your purpose. You're putting it out there into the world. You're putting it out there. You're putting it inward into yourself, and you're starting to seek. So you have to, when you're seeking, you seek inward and outward. So this is a way for you to do that inward and outward. And that is like the first step to to finding to finding your purpose. Um, if you've already figured it out and now you're like, no, how do I monetize that? Like, this is what I know I should be doing. And I know that, being in this job that I'm in right now is not where I should be. Um, or I just finished a certification and now I know I need to be doing this. That's the whole other piece of the pie that we figure out on how to get to activate this for you, and be able to create an income for yourself that you can actually do what you love and live the lifestyle that you want to live. So yeah, hopefully this was helpful today. I know what I was going to say. The whole parameter for why to do this is when we are not living, like when we're, think about it, when you're working and you really aren't happy with what you're doing, whether you're in business or a 9 to 5, it's very hard to stay consistent. It's so hard to stay consistent. And it also affects you physically. So you may not know that because you're just like so used to feeling tired or stressed or wanting to call off once a week, or pushing away your work. It's because you like literally physically are pushing away what is not fulfilling you. So that's why the inconsistent action happens. So yeah, so hopefully this was helpful today. And tomorrow morning, we're going to have Women's Giving on Thursday instead of Friday. And Women's Giving will be featuring my friend Christy, who is a national voiceover actor and public speaker. And she will be talking about her inspirational story of how what's been developing in her life over the last year. And I'm really excited for her to share and be vulnerable with us. So until tomorrow, everyone have a great day. Bye.